Hi, I'm Michelle Shepard, registered dietitian and owner of Westcoast Nutrition. And today I'm here to talk about how not having enough iron in your diet or having enough iron in your diet, but not getting enough into your bloodstream might be worsening your weight loss, really dialing back your energy, and potentially even taking away your self control around food and your motivation. So let's dig in. Now, before we get to that, just a reminder that my job is to help busy, motivated humans who are trying to eat well manage to feel good in their bodies, lose weight, get their energy and gut back in a real life way. So, realistic, sustainable, no crazy crash diet. So, you're not going to get any of that here. Now, let's dig in. First and foremost, we have iron deficiency, which is going to be defined under set parameters of, not enough of certain numbers like ferritin or low MCV in your blood. And we have suboptimal, which is where you might look okay on those numbers, but based on what is actually functional and what helps to optimize your health and your wellness, your metabolism may still be too low. Now, depending where you are, labs are going to have different numbers. The ones I'm using work for the labs in BC, but if you work somewhere else, maybe reply or post in the comments below if you're on YouTube, and I'll see if I can figure out those conversions for you. Now, this is happening in two ways. Iron is a really important nutrient despite not being sexy, and it can be stunting your weight loss and your energy, both in the way it affects your body and your metabolism and the way it signals your brain, which is potentially even trickier because you don't know it's happening. Now, it affects your body in a bunch of ways, but first, we need iron to burn fat for energy, which is how we lose weight effectively. So if you've got that small, steady, gradual calorie deficit, but you're stalled, iron deficiency or suboptimal amounts are really going to slow this down. It also is going to push your body to down regulate some of our thyroid hormones, the ones that regulate our metabolic rate or our natural calorie burn. And if you're sitting all day, if you're not as active as you used to be, or like me, you're getting a little bit older, you're already struggling with that getting a little bit lower. And so you might be eating what seems like a reasonable amount of calories for your age, stage activity, burning less because iron is low and that thyroid has dialed metabolism down. And the other thing we see is sometimes people also lose lean mass. So your body can become a bit more catabolic, which means it's going to burn muscle for energy instead of just fat, which is not something that happens in normal metabolism, but can in stages of deficiency. So we really want to be careful that we are getting enough in our diets, which can be really hard. Women need twice as much as men and often get lower calories. And there's things that might be happening in your gut and in your metabolism that mean you're not getting all that iron you are eating into your bloodstream or using it effectively. So we're going to dig into that into our next video. But the second piece of this is how iron deficiency or suboptimal intake is affecting your brain without you even knowing it. Now, even low normal iron, which is one of my pet peeves with the current ranges here in BC. So something in the range of a ferritin between 15 and 50, which would be considered check, you're fine, which although you are not dying, does mean you're going to have impairments in physical energy. So again, that energy production. But if you are fatigued all the time, you sure as heck are not going to feel like going to the gym. We know from research on athletes, you're not going to get as much out of your workouts or have the energy to do so. And we also see decreased motivation and drive coming from that. So our executive function, which helps us prioritize things, which helps us do things that are important when they're hard, helps us with our memory. Did you forget your lunch, on the counter 3 days in a row? Are you forgetting to fill your water bottle, even though it's right in front of your face? All of those things may be related to a suboptimal iron. And so if we can fix that thing, get your energy up and your brain on board, it's going to be a lot easier to make the choices, to eat the foods, and to also have your body work for you and make it easier to burn fat for energy, which increases energy between meals and also makes fat loss easier. And isn't that helpful? And the last part of this is a little bit more nefarious. And so that kind of low normal iron also still decreases mood. And in those of you who are susceptible to clinical anxiety or depression, we can increase the severity, we can increase the frequency of those times. And that can really drive both some comfort eating, some emotional eating, some lack of self care, and some poor choices. Or in those of us who are not prone to that, but may just be experiencing those changes, irritability, low mood, fatigue, lack of drive, all associated with even suboptimal iron status, not just low or deficient. And so again, it's going to be really hard to do the things you need to do when you feel so crappy. So if you have had this checked and you didn't get a call back from your doctor, go online and check your number. We're looking for a ferritin of 50 and up. And if you happen to have a ferritin of 50 and up, but your hemoglobin is low, normal, or low, your MCV is low, normal, or low, or those numbers are okay, but you kind of fit all of the symptoms, you may want to ask for an iron panel. So sometimes the ferritin itself can be elevated because it also responds to stress, inflammation, illness. And so if there's anything else going on for you health-wise or emotion-wise, your ferritin may look good, but it's falsely elevated and your stores can still be depleted, which means you're constantly kind of running on fumes as far as all the ways that we need to use iron. And so if you feel like that screw it button has been really close lately, that your motivation and your energy and your drive, even though you feel like getting into a body that works for you, having that energy to go on adventures, all that stuff is really important, but the implementation feels really hard, you're going to want to get this one checked and stay tuned for more about where we get iron, how much you might need, and all the reasons it might be low, even though you're eating quite a bit of like animal protein or iron in my next video. If you've got questions, reply back to this email or comment on YouTube. I would love to hear your questions and make sure we cover them in the next one.